Welcome to Milk Market Tidbit for the January cold storage report that USDA released yesterday. This is Dr. Lawrence Jones of Farm Institute, and I'm recording this on the 27th of February. All right, the cold storage report is our second report, and we'll get the third one of dairy products here next week. So, how did all this come in? So, first off, we'll look at the revisions for the previous month because that can always create a bit of an issue here. So, all of the cold storages were actually dropped, some more than other. The butter cold storage was dropped quite a bit, while as the cheese cold storage dropped just a little bit. So when we were done, we ended up adding about 19.9 million pounds to the cheese cold storage and 56 million pounds to the butter cold storage. So when I look at all of this, I say, well, the January cheese disappearance may be higher than December. Now, why do I say that? Well, first off, we produced more milk by a matter of 1.9%, but we added less cheese to the cold storage. Secondly, the December cheese disappearance is probably a little bit better than we thought because we actually lowered what was in cold storage. So when we kind of look at what the cheese producers were thinking, the January price for cheese was about $1.89. If they put it into cold storage, they're going to have to pull it out at $1.95 to kind of cover the cost. So really, there were no good hedge positions for cheese. So you really didn't want to stick it into cold storage unless you absolutely had to. Whereas the February is also about $1.90. But another alternative could be that they stuck it into cold storage as a spec position, which is what that is saying is they're expecting this contract to move up to $1.95, midsummer, in which case they could put it in now and hope for that price to increase. If we look at cheese stocks, we've been on this tremendous upward trend, and we really broke that. And I would actually argue we broke it in January of 22. But this is on a downward trend. But overall, it came in pretty close to where we thought seasonally because it came up a little bit from last month. And there are times when it comes up in January, so that's not totally out of line. And so the question is, were we exporting cheese? We won't know that until I think the 6th of next month here. But if we look at the global dairy trade at 221, the actual cheese price at $1.89, and then the spot price currently is $1.87. We see we do have a black dot here, which suggests that there was enough to be exporting. So part of what probably drove this scenario in January is exports still look like they should be reasonably good. American stocks, kind of the same picture as we saw a tremendous upward trend, and this broke and came down. And I would say that, again, 2022 is actually on that new trend down. One of the things I always like to look at is what percent of the cheese and cold storage is American cheese, and it's rounds to 57% now. Maybe it's 56.8 or something, but it rounds 57%, which is where that's been at. So again, we're not pulling any one cheese out more or less than the others. Other cheese stocks, same thing. And again, we've been on a tremendous upward trend. And then we've been reducing these. And you can see how much we've actually would have pulled down if we compared to where that trend would have been here in 2025. So the real question is, why did we add 56 million pounds of butter to cold storage? Last January we added 48, so that doesn't seem terribly out of line, but last month we didn't add very much. If we look at the long-term trend of butter stocks, we're basically right on that trend line. So it did split it here, but I think probably next month it'll stick it all back together. So we've just been on this slightly upward trend of increasing butter stocks. And so the question is, why would you do that? So the January butter price was $2.60. So if you've got butter at $2.60, probably it's better to throw it into cold storage and pull it out, down here in midsummer at $2.80. So there is a proper hedge position that would put more butter into cold storage. So this forward curve would have suggested we should have done that. And in fact, adding 56 million pounds is probably not surprising given this forward curve. So we had the cold storage report and of course the National Dairy Sales report yesterday. We're going to have agricultural prices on Friday and the dairy products report on Tuesday, and dairy exports the following Thursday, so I'm not sure when I'll get this dairy products report, milk market tidbit. I may wait for the exports